Who knows what a Juul is? Now, keep your hand raised if you've ever tried one or know someone who owns one. Okay. So devices such as the Juul, Fix, and Soren are all e-cigarette companies that have blown up in the past 3 years. Juul being the most popular, you can see that they look like little USB devices that fit in the palm of your hands. In my time at Cal Poly, I've seen many people using these on the way to class, in the bathrooms, at parties, countless people taking countless puffs. I remember in 2015, the only way of vaping really was with these big, bulky box vapes that produced huge smoking clouds, and honestly, only really boys vaped at the time. It was very rare to have a girl own one of these devices, but with products like the Juul gaining popularity, everyone's using them, girls included. An article on sciencenewsforstudents.org states that in 2015, a study showed that 16% of high schoolers, which adds up to 2.39 million kids. With the Juul being released in 2015, that number has definitely skyrocketed in the past 3 years. Keep in mind that it's illegal for those 18 and under or 21 and under, depending on the state you're in, to purchase these products. Our generation is highly partaking on this new wave of vaping, but many don't understand the psychology or health effects going on behind the scenes. So there's a big question behind this nicotine epidemic, and it's why are so many kids smoking these nicotine devices? Aren't they supposed to be stepping stones for cigarette smokers to stop smoking cigarettes or maybe stop smoking altogether? And a simple answer is that it's a trend. You know how our generation loves to partake in trends. The other day I was in law and I was pretty bored, so I decided to conduct a little experiment for my speech. I went on Snapchat and I screenshotted every story or Snapchat that involved someone using a vape or a vaping device or whatever. And in 15 minutes I came up with this. So I was just browsing through my stories. There's also this one here at Cal Poly. I thought it was kind of weird, it was kind of funny, at the rec center. Speaking of taste, 65% of teenagers, Speaking of taste, 65% of teenagers say they use products like the Juul for flavor purposes, as reported by CS Monitor. Now, I think we tend to stay away from cigarettes due to the known stigma behind them. And if you don't know, now you know, cigarettes taste horrible. But vape companies are providing and producing many flavors, almost seeming targeted towards the youth. In my experience, they're pretty tasty. There's like cherries, melons, berries, mints, anything you want, you can get it. Another main reason why people are using these devices is for that lightheaded feeling they get when they take a puff, which is basically when nicotine enters the bloodstream. Or as in college, you might hear, "For the dome, dude, let's get domed, man." As vapes rise in popularity, companies are producing more and more products that look different but ultimately do the same thing. For example, this is the Soren Air, pretty popular here at Cal Poly, and then this is the newer version, the Soren Drop. They look different, they're different shapes, but they do the same exact thing. So as more kids are starting to vape, there's a bunch of health effects going on behind the scenes. Products like the Juul contain very high percentages of nicotine in their juices. A single Juul pod contains as much nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. And since our brains grow until we're 25, there's a much more likely chance that people our age will become addicted to nicotine. And as they keep puffing on these devices, they'll soon see a dependency on nicotine and have it implemented in their daily routine, like when they first wake up in the morning, or after a meal, or in stressful situations, anything like that. And as they become addicted, they'd rather just keep puffing on their cute, tiny, little tasty device rather than just put it down. So it's just an ongoing cycle of charging and smoking and charging and smoking. Yes, vapes are safer than cigarettes, but that doesn't mean that they're completely harmless. Nicotine affects people's brains through memory and attention. The nicotine used in these juices are extracted from tobacco, mixed with other chemicals and flavorings, most of which are not FDA approved. Some juices are known to have diacetyl, which, as Health Harvard states, is a chemical used in popcorn and dairy products. Ironically, it can cause something called popcorn lungs, which is when your it sounds what it looks like. It's just like a popcorny lung. Some have formaldehyde, which is a chemical that could cause cancer if inhaled. And vapes don't make our lungs black like cigarettes do, but it doesn't mean that they're not susceptible to give us lung diseases. My friend told me about a case where there's these off-brand Juul pods that were recalled for making people cough up tiny pieces of their lungs. I don't know if that was really true, but it sounds more likely than not. I believed it. Okay. So at the end of the day, it's each individual's decision whether they want to smoke or not, if they want to indulge in that activity. I just wish that people would inform themselves more on what they're getting into before hopping on a new trend like vaping, because ultimately vapes are the new cigarettes of our generation. When cigarettes first came out, not much was known about them, but everyone was smoking them. And there was a time where even they said that cigarettes were healthy, but we all know what turned out to be the case. Since vapes are only a couple years old and they're fairly new, there's not enough long-term study to determine whether they're life-threatening or not. Our generation is the long-term study. Thank you.